Narcissistic parents versus narcissistic partners. What hurts you more? Well, let's say you're cooking dinner. Your partner criticizes your food, sharp, cold tone. In the split second, you're not in the kitchen anymore. No, you're not. You're back at that childhood table. Remember that? You're back at that table, whatever it looked like, in the chair, right? And you're hearing, you can't do anything right. Two moments collide. They're smashing into one another. The argument in front of you and the one you never got to finish years before. This is a powerful, powerful echo, but it's also very painful. It's the sound of your nervous system, confusing then with now. And when your nervous system gets activated, we know that it activates that core content. So today, we're going to unpack narcissistic parents and partners, and we know that sometimes they can feel like the same emotional storm and turmoil is going on. Why both hurt differently, and how you can finally quiet that echo and that noise from your family in the head. Now, if you're not sure what family in the head is, you can check out my other videos. It's that chorus inside your brain that encourages all this negative stuff about your beliefs, behaviors, patterns, who you are, all that stuff. It's that chorus in your brain. And, in thinking about it, have you ever had a fight that felt like two fights at once? Today and the one from your past. Similar to what I mentioned at the opening of the video. Say yes in the comments if you've been there. If you've had that experience, share that with others because the comments are so helpful. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to spot when old wounds are hijacking new moments. It's called emotional hijacking. It's a thing. And how you can reclaim your sense of safety and control in the now, in the present. And that's so important. But to do that, we got to go back to the parent wound. This is where the script got started. Now, parents are typically our first mirrors, right? And what they reflect back gets internalized. It becomes that inner voice, that chorus family in the head that you carry forward throughout your life. Unless you recognize it and deal with it, that volume stays in your brain. So let's say you brought home a B+, and instead of hearing, that's great, you heard, why not an A? And that could be a phrase that always resonates in you. It's like a praise always has a catch. Love comes with conditions. And maybe you've experienced that. Maybe you've had that. And what happens is that early pattern, it teaches you to earn affection instead of expect it or want it or how to get it. And as an adult, you work twice as hard to feel half as safe. Does that resonate for you? Does that ring a bell? Because it's not just about grades or approval. It's about learning that love can disappear if you stop performing. So love becomes very conditional. If that voice still whispers, you're not enough, recognize it's not a weakness. It's an old recording playing on repeat. And who loves to do that more than your family in the head? That negative chorus in your brain telling you you're not good enough. Love is conditional. No matter what you do, you are not going to be enough. We can't fall for that. We got to push back. Notice what that voice says. Don't just block it out. Don't just push it out because then it comes back even harder, right? You can change what you recognize. But here's the other thing. You can't change what you don't. And going from that parent wound, let's take a look at the partner wounds too. Because if we fast forward to adulthood, right? You were in childhood, we're going to go right to adulthood. And that old recording, it gets a new actor. Now, narcissistic partners don't create the wound, but they do wake it up. They do amplify it. They help to turn up that volume of your family in the head. So let's say, for example, right? They start with affection and intensity, Love bombing. Anybody heard that one? Yep. And I have a video on love bombing that you might enjoy. So check out the link if you want. Right? But, right, that it starts with that initial affection and you're getting all this affection and you feel really seen. Then suddenly the warmth just vanishes. You chase after what felt real, just like you did as a kid. I have to act better, harder, keep validating myself, keep doing more so I can prove this, prove that, and get the love that I feel I need and want. Now, it's confusing because the pattern, it feels so familiar. And this is something that I call that unhealthy comfort zone. Comfort zone, people misunderstand it, right? That comfort zone, they think that it's this healthy area. It isn't in every case. In some cases, it's very unhealthy. Comfort zone only means it's what you're used to. It could absolutely be maladaptive. It could be adaptive. It could be a combination of adaptive and maladaptive beliefs, behaviors, and patterns. So if you mistake the adrenaline of anxiety, for example, for the excitement of love, that adds another additional component. And it's very confusing because here you are, if that was your old pattern to chase love, to do more for love, to try to increase your value and sense of self, to get the love you feel you need or want, if that gets connected to anxiety, then you feel all this intensity and you may be inappropriately connecting it to passion, to love, to connection, to being heard and seen. And, if we go back to that childhood drama, right, and we know that it kind of got rebooted and the cast members are different, right? And we could even say maybe it's a bigger budget, because now you're in your adulthood. You're doing your own thing. So now in doing that, you pull people that are representative of your early experience into your current interpersonal dynamic. And now, even though the faces are different, what's inside the package tends to be the same. And that's why if you find yourself that you're dating the same people over and over and over again, just on the exterior they look a little different, that is typically why. So once you recognize that the replaying, that family in the head is manipulating you, you can begin to respond differently. And this is, right, why do partners reopen those old wounds? Parents' wounds write the script, but partner wounds read the lines, right? And your parent taught you what love feels like, conditional, uncertain, and your partner reactivates this by giving you the same emotional rhythm: closeness, withdrawal, then confusion. And this, it can easily be a cycle that you have played out multiple times in your life. And in it, you feel powerless, like no matter what you say or do, the story ends the same way. So what we need to do is you need to recognize that when you feel this, you're not overreacting. You're just over-reliving. And I really like that because the body doesn't always know the difference between memory and moments. And that's why some memories are so salient, like we can almost taste them, right? It's like eating a salt cube. Ooh, I didn't just eat one. I was giving you a little show right there, right? Could you imagine eating a salt cube? Ooh, that would not be good. Not at all. Not at all, right? But your body, your brain, you can get that same salt cube feeling even though you're not doing it if the memory is so intense, if the memory is connected to something that is related to your core content. Core content, these are the things inside ourselves that can get activated, and then how we respond, surface content, which is something I talk about in a lot of my videos and my books and things like that, that absolutely how we respond really indicates whether or not we're dealing with a personality disorder, whether or not we are stuck in this old repetition that no matter what we do, we can't get out. But we can. You absolutely can. Awareness is where this pattern can start to loosen. The moment you see it, you're ready in the present. You have to catch it. You got to catch it first. And I know that is the hardest part. I completely understand. And it is difficult. But in order to heal it, we got to edit the script. We got to rework it, because healing isn't just about rewriting your history. It's about changing the role you play in it and how it impacts your life today and how you're living your life. Now, here's what I want you to do. All right. I'm going to give you various tools, so hang on. Tool number 1, separate the voices. When criticism lands, it hits you, right? Pause and ask, whose voice is that? Try to identify that person from your past. If it sounds like your parent, it's not truth, it's from conditioning. And that's really important. Try to rewrite that family in the head, that inner voice. If it says, right, you're lazy, well, it becomes, I'm not allowed to rest. If you're too sensitive, becomes, I care too deeply, and that's a strength. What we're going to do is we're going to reframe it, right? We're going to rework it, remodel it into something positive. Because remember, those old stories that you're hearing in your brain, those old opinions, those old terrible statements that you have in your head, those are not fact. Those are memories of the past. We have to separate that. But I also want you to build trust in yourself. And this includes recognizing first about what is going on between parent and partner, but also you start to build trust every time you keep a boundary or validate your own feelings. That's how safety grows. That's also how you can keep yourself moving forward, feeling more powerful, and not from someone else changing, but from you staying consistent, you making those changes. What you're going to do is you're going to find your boundaries, and sometimes you got to write them out. I know people don't like to write out stuff, but you got to write it out. And then when you write it out, then stay consistent with them. Now, here's the thing about boundaries that I think people misunderstand. People think that boundaries are written in concrete, absolute. They got to have a little bit of flexibility in there, right? Right? Like bridges. Bridges are built to have a little bit of flexibility. So it's important to recognize that there's a little bit of flexibility, but you can't throw them out the window. So we don't want to either throw them out the window or completely 100% my boundary is my boundary. Now, there's some that you absolutely should relate to. So we have to look at each boundary to how it relates. And people that I think struggle with the parents versus partner issue really do get confused about making the clarity, holding on to boundaries, and being consistent. And if you're having trouble with it, that's completely understandable. Mental health provider may be able to help you as well. Absolutely, absolutely. But I want you also to be anchored in the present. You got to stay present. Ground yourself when you're triggered. Feel your feet. Feel your breath. Look around you. Get centered. Find 5 things in your room and say them out loud or very low to yourself. Absolutely. That helps to ground you, reorient you to what's going on around you. And remind yourself, this is now. I'm safe. I have choices. See, the problem is that a lot of times people who've experienced trauma or manipulation or other types of pains, that they incurred during their childhood, that they tend to see it through that same child's eyes. But we have to challenge it. And I think parental criticism is absolutely a huge component. So when your partner, maybe they criticize your cooking, and instead of collapsing into shame, you can think, well, that's their opinion, not my truth. I'm still here and still worthy. And also, if they do that, when things are calm, not when you are activated, but when things are calm, that's the time to have the discussion that, hey, if you don't like something that I'm cooking, why don't we talk about it and phrase for that person how you would like to hear feedback. And I think that that's important. I think we have to be able to take feedback from our partners. But the issue becomes if every bit of feedback is seen as criticism, then we're always on defense. If we're always on defense, man, we get tired. Whew. And we're so tired, we want to sleep all the time. But if you're also experiencing that, you're not sleeping well because you're always restless, because you're so full of anxiety. And, healing takes time. And allow yourself that time to get there. And allow yourself that process. Try these 3 tools. I'm telling you, I think they can absolutely help you out, right? Wounds matter. Both wounds matter. Both can be healed. Present partner issues with past parent issues. You can honor the child who feels unseen while also protecting yourself and the adult that you've become. Remember that. It is so important. Freedom doesn't mean forgetting. Control doesn't mean forgetting. Managing your emotions doesn't mean, no, I just got to forget about it. All that does is intensify the memory and the negative aspects. What we want to do is to recognize that when your past shows up, decide that you won't go back to that home where the initial injury occurred. You are in control of the present. We don't have time machines. We can't go back and redo it. So what we have to do is manage it in the present. Try those 3 strategies. And if you're really struggling, I do think a good mental health provider can super duper help you out. And that's really, really important, right? And, also in the comments section, communicate which feels louder. Like, is it the parent? Is it the partner? Let me know in the comments and let other people know what you're dealing with. And if you've dealt with it and it's worked, maybe you've used some of my suggestions. Maybe you have your own. Put them in the comment section because people really do read them and they do benefit from them. And that's what, again, I'm trying to create here. That positive community where we're all getting a sense of help and understand that we're not alone in it. You may feel unseen. And that may come from your childhood, from parent issues, parent criticism. But today, let's be seen. Today, let's do it different. So I hope you found this video helpful. Check out some of my other videos, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.